I think they probably fall into two camps. The first camp is those people that trot out jobs that they have on their books and look to fill those as quickly, but possibly almost by numbers rather than necessarily knowing the personalities that are involved. I think those headhunters typically are interested in placing that job rather than necessarily in the career of the individual that they are representing. There is a group of headhunters, of which I think the Lighthouse company is one, that actually make it their business to understand individuals along their career progression and then know when it's appropriate to take a role or an opportunity to them. Well, I've had it both as an employer and an employee. I do think it's a very personal experience. I think both as an employer, they understanding your brief. Okay, what do you want from this individual rather than what is the job title? Does your job title actually define to that individual what you want them to do? So kind of a realism about what you're asking them to achieve as much as kind of the tasks that you might write on a job description. But also what's the character and personality that you want to bring into your business and actually fit with your senior team. And I think that's really important because if you're employing someone into a senior team, there's a team dynamic that you want to keep in balance, or that you want to bring a different a foil or a strength to, and you want your kind of recruiter, your headhunter to understand that. So I think in that respect, there's very need to understand who's the individual as much as what is the role. As an employee, I think the benefit to me was someone was looking out for my career. They weren't looking out for the next job that I had. And therefore that would go as far as to say, we don't have the right job for you, or actually another job that you've got on the table from either a direct relationship or another headhunter is a better job for you. And I really value and respect that attitude because it's about me as an individual and where I'm going long term, and therefore an acknowledgement that I will probably work with the Lighthouse company for decades rather than necessarily just for this one kind of move that I'm going to make. And I'm able to come back to them on an ongoing basis and talk to them about where my career is growing. And I think one of the interesting things that the Lighthouse company has done is thought about other skill sets that they need to broaden out. So, you know, a lot of kind of things around everything from coaching to your fitness and well-being. Those areas that really impact on your career, they impact on your life, and therefore kind of makes sense that someone like the Lighthouse company can introduce you to those people, can connect you with those people at particular points in your career when you might need them. So for me as an individual, that's what I find most impressive, the concept of looking at my career, not just the role that they might have on their books or even just the next role that I might be in, looking beyond that and thinking about where am I going and how's that going to support my overall progression. Obviously have worked with Kathleen pretty much from kind of the conception of the Lighthouse company and her running that individually. But obviously the team has changed a great deal over the year. I think what's noticeable is the same thought has been put into the recruitment of those people as put into when they're actually hiring on your behalf. What is the balance that needs to be struck within the team? Who provides the right kind of service for a media owner versus an agency versus a client versus a technology company, and really getting the appropriate characteristics for those kind of different roles. I think the consistency of the candidates they've brought to us that have then gone on to be successful within the business I previously worked for, but also now Mindshare, is kind of testament to the fact that they get it right. As an individual, they're probably the first people I turn to when I want career advice myself. So, you know, if I want an independent perspective on my own development, on where I stand in the market, of whether or not I've got the appropriate skill sets for senior leadership roles, they are the people I come and talk to. And I feel that I get a measured view of that. I get told what I need to develop, and I get told where maybe I'm not appropriate to do certain things, or I shouldn't maybe focus my attention. And I think that kind of if you have that experience as an individual, it kind of says a lot about kind of the headhunter that you're working with when they're talking to candidates and when they're talking to employees. So it gives you great confidence that they're doing the same thing for the other people that they represent. I think when you're in a role, you operate in a bit of a vacuum. And certainly, you know, in my career, I've tended to stay at places for a period of time. And when you do that, you really don't know what your market perception is. You sometimes don't really know what you're capable of. You get on with your job, you keep your head down, you never really analyse what that means to either other employers or necessarily the impression in the market. So what it does give you is a sense of confidence when you sit down and someone says, well, look, these are the things that the market know you for, and these are the things that we can see from talking to you that actually make you either a strong manager or a strong leader, and therefore where you might appropriately fit, both in your existing organisation, but equally so where you might progress to if you choose to move. So I think in a way, for me as an individual, they've been a really good kind of benchmark or yardstick about, okay, where am I relative to the rest of the market, and where are my skills valued and where are they not? It's a people business, so it's a personal business. It's not a business that tends to conduct a lot of its conversation with you over email. It's not a business that necessarily just calls you cold. It's a business that likes to sit down with you and talk, and actually probably look into your eyes and see whether or not what you're saying is actually what you really believe. I feel that there is a relationship, and that's a relationship on an ongoing basis. That's a relationship that I value. It's a relationship I respect. It's one where I can pick up the phone with a brief and talk candidly and honestly about what I'm trying to achieve. I think they have a great attitude to confidentiality, of understanding that when you're appointing in senior roles, there are things that need to be kept between you and them. And I think that's very difficult when you're a player who's working in the market overall, but you're being asked by a specific agency to understand the sensitivities of making a senior appointment. All of those things are the things that kind of make them someone that you would call first.